So let me share about the indicators in evaluating the characteristics of root bus service. Yes, this is section 2.1, yes, and how then the operating informations is utilized for the passenger information for passengers. So today's session, so the more specific indicators for evaluating the public transport service, and which are expected to be prepared by the LTFRB and DOTr side. Then this page shows the characteristics of the fixed route bus services. And the first one is the business descriptions. Yes, what is the fixed route bus service business? Is to provide the traffic service to let many users easy to move where they want to go. Not so surprising information. However, to conduct the operation based on what designated operation hour interval at a daily constant period of times. This is not achieved by the jeepney or PUV also. Then the managerial essence to establish the bus route with passenger demands and the bus stops at convenient places, and to meet the public demand and conduct the bus operations. Yes. So then anyway, the main goal of the bus operation is to how to maximize the number of passengers to transport per operating by one vehicles. Of course, the overcrowdings or overloadings exceeding the capacity of the buses shall be avoided. However, if the passenger bus transport or jeepney transport carry only the air, this is just a very economically inefficient. And especially recently, the fuel shortage is a very critical issues for your cities, Japan also. So how to maximize the operating efficiency is the critical point for the transport plannings. Of course, there are bus operators is also making their business. So how to maximize the financial profit is the very critical point. So it is not so surprising issues. However, this is according to this purpose objectives, what kind of operating indicators will be carried out is mentioned. Then this table shows just examples of the performance indicators of the fixed route bus service. And the performance based on the operational data is have them 3 to 4 categories. Yes, one business days operating performance, number of operational vehicles, then the actual walking rate and operational frequency, and of course number of passengers, and per bus operational days, yes, then the operational frequency and the number of passengers and actual running operating distances. And per one-way operations and the number of passengers also will be the important criteria. But however, as I highlighted, these number of passengers in these three categories, and you understand that this information is not available for the LTFRB side, because the most of the maybe jeepney operators is just a commission basis, not with the fixed salary. So all fare revenues is collected by the drivers. And the drivers need to pay the owner or administrators to pay some commission fee. through this industrial structures and the number of secured number of passenger is very difficult to understand to correct. So that's why the many cities are trying to introduce their IC card to collect such kind of informations and to shift from such kind of commission-based industrial structure to the more modernized bus transport operation. But anyway, currently such kind of information is not available in this city. So the how to collect is also need to be considered. And another performance indicators is the per operating distance, also very important indicators for the public transport plannings. So let me explain about these indicators. First one is the per operational days. Is for example, number of operating buses called fleet sizes. Yeah, and the operating buses means, for example, one company registered 20 buses, and how many in average or in one day, how many buses operated is a very critical indicators for the bus business investment scale of the bus route and companies, and this number of operating buses per number of registered buses. So in these types, 90 per 20 means 95% of actual operating ratio. Actual bus operating ratio is the indicator of the effectiveness of the business. And I suppose the actual operating ratio is changed day by day in Metro Manila, actually recently. And this is also very critical point. So of course, then if this actual operating number is not fixed, then such kind of timetable operations is very difficult for operator side. So the first steps to modernize the public transports, then fixing this actual operating ratio is one of the critical items. But this is just an example of the good cases and the bad cases for the operating ratio. So the lower operating ratio and the unstable operating ratio day by day shall be avoided generally. And ideally fixed operating ratio according to the operational schedules. Well-managed operational schedule also shall be prepared. Then the second one is the number of trips. Yes, indicator of the operational service intervals. And sometimes it is very difficult to understand the operational frequency of the bus transport. This is also due to the unstability of the number of operating buses and the number of trips by buses. For example, some jeepney driver says yesterday they make 3 trips, but today 4 trips. But after tomorrow, they have some schedule in the day after afternoon, so that they make just 2 trips. This is not managed by the operator, meaning the owner sides. So in that cases, so then the number of trips also not fixed per day. Then why such kind of number of trips and the number of operating buses are necessary is, for example, when you can see if you assuming then the general business hour of some route is just 16 hours, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. So the daily average frequency can be estimated from the operating hour per number of trips. For example, and they make their bus route make 51 trips during this 16 hours. Then the average service frequency can be assumed to be the 90 minutes. Then based on this information, so how the operational efficiency can be maximized also will be considered through the bus operators. Such kind of fixed operational schedule can be established. So there to correct the operational service interval, such kind of number of trips informations and number of operating buses informations is very important. And the number of passengers per day will be the indicator of the profit scales of the bus route or bus company. And for example, the number of trips by public transport is collected by each zone, and for example, so many bus route information is overlaid by sections. Such kind of merged number of trips by road section can be visualized like this. Then according to the capacity of the bus stop and the road section itself, then the number of trips by buses shall be controlled. I believe that the principal component of the route planning is just controlled than the number of trips per section. And if the number of trips is highly exceed than the capacities, sometimes this is operated by UV Express, UV Express and Jeepney. Such kind of corridor shall restrict the operations of such smaller vehicles to promoting the replace with the larger buses. In this context, so the modernized PUJ also not applicable to operate such kind of very busy section because they can carry just 30 passengers. So the larger buses also actively implemented for the heavy sections. To make such kind of verifications by sections, I'm very eager to finding the related information from your side. And the trips for operating buses means yes, and just this is estimated information from the existing values. Yes, and how many trips the bus makes, 3 or 4. Yeah, 2 or 3. Yes, such kind of information is also will be the indicators of the productivity of the public transport. And such kind of informations, yeah. And when you considering for example, if the number of route lengths is fixed, and they make us understands how many trips is made by each buses, then of course the estimated of my operating distance can be estimated like this. Then for example, just in Japanese bus operators cases, then the average operating mileage per one bus is 166 kilometers. And internationally speaking, so the operating more longer than 200 kilometers per day is causing some traffic accident due to the failure for the drivers. So that for managing the working conditions for the drivers, such kind of indicator also shall be prepared, I suppose. For example, this page showing the working hour for the bus drivers informations. Yeah, and how hours, how long the drivers handlings meaning grasping the handles, operation handles is also one of the indicators for the working hour management. Then there less than 70 hours before is one of the bench. Of the 70 hours of the binding hours is one of the recommendations from the labor unions in Japan. And some of the non-handling hours, including some just pure break times and just the idling hour and the standby hour. Then the benchmarking of the binding hour is also will be there. Of course, there is some of the standard in Philippines also. However, when you try to modernize the public transport operations, so the quality of life of the drivers also will be considered to modernize the public transport services. And the second one is the power operation days. Yes, when you providing such kind of information, so the number of passengers per operating buses also will be the very important criteria. Then the indicator of this is considered as a profitability of the route service work. So if currently, as I said, the drivers collecting their fare revenue as their incomes. So however, when you try to manage the number of riders, passengers, or fare revenues per driver, like this is sometimes in Japan or other countries' cases, some drivers showing the very lower values compared with the other drivers. In that cases, actually, they will take fare to his pocket, not to the fare box. So in that cases, then the bus operator, administration staffs will ride the bus as a passenger and checking the behavior of such kind of problematic drivers. And they will catch their behavior, and they will make any punishment penalties for the bus drivers. So if such kind of data set is prepared, such kind of operating monitoring is also possible. Then the number of passengers per one-way trips is also indicators of the profitabilities. Yeah, and then such kind of information is also considered as the profitability of the public transport service, and this value is the most affected one by the route's characteristics. So this route is financially visible or not. Yes, or some things information is also can be considered. Then and as I explained many times, so the number of passenger is currently difficult for your side also. But in Japanese cases or other countries also have implemented such kind of onboard passenger volume survey. Calling the surveyors is ride the buses, and for each bus stop, how many passenger is on board, and at the bus stop, how many passenger ride and how many passenger board is recorded. Then according to such kind of operating information, so the sectional passenger volumes and where is the busy bus stop or not can be visualized. Then the slowdown informations For example, the ridership per trips and travel distance and estimated passenger kilometer and the trip length and passenger density can be estimated. Then you don't need to try the all vehicles and all routes. So they're selecting the sample bus stops and they're according to the route characteristics. So what kind of operating behaviors can be seen shall be reviewed through the result of such kind of survey. Then, yes, and the passenger density. Yes, and the first one is per operating distance indicators. Then the passenger densities is a very important indicator of the operational efficiency. Yes, this can be modernized, estimated by the how many passenger on board in average. Then it can be estimated from the passenger kilometer per route length. So actually I just tried to provide some exercise. Yeah, I would like you to estimate the passenger density of such kind of bus trips. Now, this is just the estimation formula. And the passenger kilometer per route length is passenger kilometer can be estimated from the 5 multiple 5, 5 multiple 15, 5 multiple 200, and 5 multiple 8, and the 240 passenger kilometers. And per 20 kilometer, they're equal 20 pax kilometer per kilometers. This is the passenger density of this route. So according to these trips, in average, the 12 passengers are on board. And this is a very critical indicator of the public transport, bus transport operations. Then not only for the passenger density, then the transport density is also indicators of the corridor's potentials. For example, this is by route, so the sum of the passenger density of all trips by the operation vehicles of the route, operating vehicles. For example, this corridor, in total 5 trips is made by the buses. And then the first one showing the 150, 60, 80, and 120. And if the passenger and if this route is just 10 kilometers, just the passenger density is 100 per 10 equal 10, 5, 7, 8, 12. So the transport density of this route can be estimated as a sum of these passenger density. So as a result, this will be the 42 pax kilometer. Then this one is also one of the indicators of the high. Of course, the high percent transport density route is the profitable route. So according to this information, so which route is arterial route and which route is feeder route, such kind of consideration also can be seen. And not only for the route wises, then as well as the previous pages. This one. Then the transport density also must be estimated by section. Yes, so the passenger density of all trips by the operating vehicles of the whole route. So the transport density per section also must be estimated. Then the percentage, and there are other notes, the passenger density shall be varied by the section. Of course, as shown in this figure, there is a high high passenger volume sections and low passenger volume sections. And generally speaking, so the passenger density is high at the CBD area, but low at the suburban area. But if there is no informations, sometimes the planners will apply just the average value. Then, for example, yes, and this is showing this figure, and according to the transport density is if the transport density is specified by the sections, then how many jeepney or how many buses and how many BRT or railway service is necessary is estimated. So this table showing according to the transport densities. So how many when they try to served only by the jeepney or minibus, large bus, BRT or light rail or heavy rails, how many trips is necessary is just estimated. And the blue one showing that this is the acceptable ranges, applicable ranges. And the yellow one is just show insufficient, demand is insufficient. And the red color showing the demand is service supply is insufficient, meanings. For example, if there is a 10,000 transport density in one sections, and if you are trying to manage by jeepney vehicles only, yes, then you need to operate the jeepney in the 67 trips per hour per section, per directions. In that cases, the headway will be shorter than 1 minute, and it will stuck at the signal intersections. So in such kind of sections, so generally jeepney shall be restricted and try to promote to shift to the larger vehicles. So there is some BRT is considered as our large buses is considered as the arterial public transport service. However, they also have some limit for the capacities. In that cases, so the more reasonable considerations, so the railway transport shall be implemented. So this is a very general criteria of the route plannings for the public transport in the cities. So I would like you to keep for your mind this about these exercises. Then yes, under the passenger kilometers, which I showing these slides, these slides is also the very important. This indicators is also used for the fare policy also. Yes, and the one of the very typical and the methodology for the fare settings for the FDC, free distributed cost method is utilized. Then the operating cost and the reasonable profit is estimated through some financial information of each operators. Then there are two balance with this cost. Then the passenger kilometer and the fare ratio also will be estimated. So I'm not sure how the fare policies in the Metro Manila, yes, jeepney and buses will be determined. However, when they try to make a decision making for their fare policies, such kind of distributed cost methodology is necessary, I suppose. So the two estimate the fair ratio and not only for the full FDC, fully distributed cost, and the passenger kilometer is also one of the very critical variables for the fare policies. Then the reference is the operation coefficient is also one of the items. Based on this informations, and you can estimate the operating cost for the public transport shall be estimated from the financial information on bus transport. Of course, in Japan and other countries collected such kind of data set. So the operating expenses, meaning how much they need to pay to operate 1 kilometer, or how much is also can be estimated, and as well as how much they can collect the revenue per operating distance also can be estimated. And these items will be compared, and their operating ratio also will be operation coefficient also will be estimated as the financial indicators of the bus transport. Then this is just showing this route A is collect the revenue per 100 peso, very cheap. However, they need to pay 214 peso to operate. In that cases, it will be there is some deficit for the operations. But on the other hand, if for example, route BCD is collecting the much more revenue to operating than their expense operation expenses. If that case is that there is no defect. So in total, and the revenue is much higher than the expenses, so the bus transport is financially sustainable. Such kind of operation coefficient is can be considered as financial indicators. Then the operation coefficient for is visualized in Japan also. And this is very rare cases. However, the Nagoya city and the third largest city in Japan and developing such kind of extensive public bus transport network. However, when someone visualize the bus route by the operating coefficient and only the limited route is grand winner, meaning is financially visible. Other routes, especially for the suburban area, is very with the deficit, making the operating loss. Yes, and that this blue line is considered as actually the BRT. And with the exclusive lane. So this route is only this route is financially visible. So the others are not. Then as according to some international subsidization schemes, so I expected the operating profit of these corridors can be made up for the other routes deficit. However, I suppose it is not. Yeah. So the operating in total, the Nagoya city buses are financially not busy, so largely supported by the government and the municipalities. Now, however, when you can visualize such kind of information, this route is financially visible. This route is not. However, this route is necessary to support the citizens' daily activity. So the subsidization is necessary or not. Such kind of decision makings is also supported by the such kind of operating indicators. But it is not so feasible to introduce in this city, in your city, in short term. So I would like you to understand. So the such kind of indicators also will be there for the public transport route planning source.